The sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky. What a beautiful day. The birds are singing and so am I. What a beautiful day. I'd like to keep this moment for the rest of my life, but I know there'll always be a little toil and strife. What a beautiful day, such a beautiful day.
And I'm going to go and give you a tour of the garden. The lilacs smell beautiful. I think there are a few droplets on the lens of this camera, but still a few tulips. On the 1st of June, that's something. Irises. The wild part of my garden back here. Wild and untamed. And here's my little tiny little vegetable patch. 2 tomato plants, a few basil plants, some beautiful columbine that I planted and never thought would bloom. Here's, look at the little face of it. Isn't that pretty? My hydrangea doing very well. This new garden bed is quite good. Coming along. I dug out most of the glass here. Here is my almost done azalea. Almost finished. Trying to get rid of some of these lilies of the valley. And here's my new, well, not new, but Japanese willow, which sprang from the old one. It's doing very well.
Hello people, this is episode 20 of The Guilty Knitter, and I am your host Vivian Lee. I am a trombonist living in Montreal, Canada, and in my spare time and time when I should be doing other things, I'm a knitter. So I'm bringing you my favorite whips and a couple of finished objects. I'm very happy to say I do have a couple of finished objects, although of course that's not my goal in life. If it were, I wouldn't be a knitter because it takes me so long to make things. But I do love the process. So I'm going to share some of my challenges with each project that I'm working on, and some resources I've found to help with that. And yeah, just a bunch of other things that I've been thinking and doing in the last month. Yes, it's been over a month since the last podcast, the last episode, which was not even, I think it was April 21st, I just noticed. And today's June the 2nd, so it's been a while, but it's been a very busy month. And by the way, before I go any further, if you want to find me on Instagram, I am at Guilty Knitter, and on Ravelry, I'm the Guilty Knitter. And you are welcome to join any discussion over there. I have a project, or not a project, but I have an podcast page called The Guilty Knitter. So if you want to introduce yourself, feel free. That would be lovely. There's not a whole lot going on over there. I was thinking of doing a knit along. Haven't quite figured out what I want to do for that. I keep talking about different options, but haven't quite narrowed it down yet. Maybe by the end of this episode, I'll have a brainwave or something. You never know. I apologize for this crappy lighting, but today is a very, very dreary day here in Montreal, so I had to turn on the lights. And that's as good as it gets because I don't have proper lighting. But I did do a little tour of the garden with my camera, and I hope I maybe you saw it in the intro. I'm hoping that I will have time to make it into something decent, hopefully. And that was in between rain, so it was kind of, it was cloudy but not raining really. So I decided to show you a little bit of my garden, which is looking really beautiful right now. And here are some lilacs from my garden. Oh my God, they're so beautiful and they smell so awesome. Say hi to Monty, little Monty. He's still here, even though he's not feeling very well. Once again, he's got his little sinus thing back, so he sniffs a lot. You'll probably hear that during the podcast if he stays in my lap. He doesn't really want to stay in my lap, I can tell. He probably wants to get down. Anyway, so what else has been going on? I've been really, really busy with the orchestra, so that's one reason why I haven't been podcasting. And when I haven't been busy, I've been knitting because I've been really into it. And so the very reason why I do this podcast has been the reason why I haven't done the podcast. So you can't blame me for that, right? And it's been really fun. I've been working on some terrific patterns, and it's just a laugh, just a lot of fun. Ooh, now it's starting to really rain. There might even be some thunderstorms later. We'll see about that, but at least it's good for the garden. Yeah, so, but last night was our last big concert of the winter season, where we played Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique and his other piece, Lelio. Very, very rarely played piece, which is actually quite nice in the end, but there's a whole lot of, it's sort of a funny piece because it's called a monodrama. I don't know whether that's a typo or what, but that's what it said on my part. And it's all about sort of Berlioz's ravings. He was kind of crazy. But anyway, I think it was well received. They seemed to like it. The audience seemed to like it. And in fact, they made an announcement before each concert this week to specifically not clap between the movements, because there's like monologue. It was an actor doing monologue in between. So and then last night, there was a guy right behind me, like, because we have seats behind us as well as in front. There was a guy right behind me who just like whooped between each movement. It was really funny. And so he got a few people clapping, like almost between every movement. It was very funny. But luckily he left at the break, so he only interrupted the symphony and not the other piece, which had more talking in between. Anyway, so that's that. I mean, I think that some people who come to the orchestra, nobody really minds if people clap between movements. It's no big deal. But so no, there's never usually an announcement like that. But I mean, traditionally, it's sort of not done. Although I think if you go back far enough, it certainly was done. It was a very popular thing to clap even in the middle of pieces, you know, if you like the soloist or whatever. Let's just start playing. Hey, that was amazing. Clap, clap, clap. Which I think, you know, why not? It's all part of the joy of music, right? So I hoped that people didn't think we were being snobby about that when they made that announcement, but it was kind of a nice, it would have been a nice thing not to be interrupted because of that, because of the particular type of piece that it was. Anyway, moving on. So this was a big month for me, and my husband just started his 1 year sabbatical. He finished his last thing on the 24th of May, and he immediately set off for Portugal. So right now he's in Portugal doing a walk, doing the Camino to Compostela. So he's walking from Porto all the way to Compostela in Spain. That's his plan anyway. So it's about a 10-day walk. And I've talked to him. Today he's taking the day off, but he walked 6 days in a row, and he was pretty sore because, of course, he didn't really train as much as he probably should have. But, you know, he's a very determined guy, and I'm sure he will finish that 10-day thing. Last year he did about 4 or 5 days last year in Spain, but he got plantar fasciitis, so he couldn't continue. So I guess that's probably why he wanted to do it again. Try again, but this time from a different vantage point, which he's enjoying the countryside, and he's not always in the country. He's sometimes in quite urban areas, but and there's a lot of hills here and there. But anyway, all in all, it's really fun, and I must say, he says it's very cheap to eat very well there, eat and drink very well. So he's enjoying that. But I miss him. He's going to be gone 3 whole weeks. I thought, well, why? If he's only doing 10 days, I don't know why he decided to go for that long, but he is his own guy, so. And I couldn't go because I had to work. And I still have 3 more days of work because we're playing for the Montreal International Violin Competition this week coming up. But that finishes on Wednesday, and then I'm off on holiday for almost a month. So, yay. Yay, I can't wait. Can't wait to do tons of gardening, and because I got lots of plans for the garden. And of course, hopefully lots of knitting as well. Okay, is that all the news to hear? Let me think. Oh, my daughter's coming to visit, Erica, on the 12th. 12th to the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, that's correct. And can't wait to see her. She's not coming with her husband. Her husband, I guess, couldn't get the time off. He's working, so. But they're both coming back at Christmas time, so we'll see him then. And what else? I don't know. I'm looking forward to the summer. I don't know about you, but this has been the longest, coldest, wettest spring in Montreal in recent memory. And I know that we are, you know, this is partly because of climate change, I guess, but it's just really dreary. And so to get into the garden, I mean, I still have tulips that are in pretty good shape still. I mean, that's crazy. The 1st of June that's pretty late for tulips, I think. And everything is a bit late. As I can tell because these memories come up on Facebook, and they're me like lolling in my sandals on the hammock in my backyard, and I'm thinking, no, I haven't done any of that this year. So, well, we'll see. Hopefully it'll happen. The peonies are coming along. Everything's coming along. It's just really late. Excuse me. So I'm going to start with my biggest finished object. I'm going to move my lilacs away so I don't knock them over. My biggest finished object is the Vertices Unite I've been working on pretty steadily. And I finished it quite a while ago now. I almost thought that I'd mentioned it in my last podcast, but then I checked my notes and no, I had not finished it. So here it is. And isn't it gorgeous? It is so gorgeous. Yeah, I really love it. I mean, it's a little not so, as you know, most of my things are a little crazy. I'm going to talk about this, which is not so crazy, in a little bit, but I'll try on the Bird Seasonite so you can get an idea. Oh, shoot. Uh-oh. Stuck to my earring. These are not the earrings to wear when you're wearing knitted objects, knitted things. Too many places they can get caught up. These were my mother's back in the day. Anyway, so here we are. So I just kind of, you know, I wear it like a scarf, really. I'm not doing a very good job here. All right, I'll put that in the front. And I just kind of do this. And I like the way the yellow kind of pops a little bit against the blue. And yeah, quite love it. It's so cozy. It's just incredibly cozy. The only thing is, I can't decide whether to keep it or give it away to my son. In fact, I really want to give it to him because I don't need another beautiful, even though as much as I love it, I'd like it to get more use than it will get with me. Although I have worn it quite a lot. for something that's going to be a gift, I've worn it quite a lot. But I figure I needed to wear it. I needed to experience it before I could pass it on. And anyway, certainly Travis wouldn't care less. I'll just wash it and it'll be good as new. He saw it and I wasn't sure about his reaction, whether he loved it or not, so I haven't decided. It's all very important to me. Like, I don't, you know, he's very knit worthy, but if he doesn't love it, I can make him something else and keep that one. Anyway, I love it. I didn't mention the yarn, but I've mentioned it many times. Here is I bought this cashmere. These two are cashmere, by June Cashmere it's called, I believe. The curry and the scarlet colorways, I believe. And this is called Black and Rainbow by Yarn Inc. I love that. It's a soft yarn. And I striped it here with some koi goo in a bright green, can't remember the colorway. And this is a merino, which is, I bought it in Vienna when we were there on tour. So that's at Volevine, the name of it is, and Volevine is the name of the shop, and I bought the cashmere and the merino there. So it's kind of my tour souvenir, and I really like it a lot. I had a lot of fun making it. The only challenge to that, and it's a really great beginner shawl pattern, because it's all garter stitch, and the increase and just increases and decreases. I mean, they're a little bit challenging, but it's nothing you can't figure out or check YouTube videos to help you. And then when you have to add the yarn and start a new section, then it's a little tricky, a little bit of a learning curve there, but all in all, it makes a really fun pattern to you know, it's pretty mindless, but not really, and it's fun. It's a great pattern. I recommend it highly. That's my second one, and I'll probably make another one someday. All right, my second finished object is this tiny little adorable hat, and you know, it was just like one day I said to myself, I have to have a, you know, what's that word, instant gratification project, because I'm working on these long projects, these sweaters, which take me forever. I don't know about anybody else, but sweaters are such a long, well, and shawls, of course. They're just super long projects. And especially when you're using fingering weight yarn, which I am for both of them. Yeah, well, I got two on the needles and they're both fingering weight. Oh, I have another one, but it's totally hibernating for now. So anyway, this is the Aviatrix hat by, I wrote it down here, hold on. It is by, hold the phone, oh, I've got the wrong page up. Sorry, guy. By Justine Turner, yeah. And I've made, this is my 4th one of these things I've made, because they are, I have to say, a really fun little knit. And they look adorable on these. Like, I made one for my neighbor, and she just loved putting it on her little boy. And it did look cute on him, I must say. And so I made this for my grandnephew. Is it great nephew or grandnephew? Anyway, he's my niece's son. And he was born in February. So I made the 6-month size because I thought, well, I wanted to obviously fit him in the fall. And I think it's going to fit him. I mean, it might even fit him a lot more than that. Like, I thought it was going to be on the small side before I blocked it. But now it's just pretty, yeah, it's going to be fine. It might even fit him the whole winter, hopefully. He's just a little guy, but he's, yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to send that off pretty soon, but I have to also make another one because he's got a sister. Okay, this is an unusual situation. Okay, so my niece is married to a woman who, and they both got pregnant within like 6 months of each other. I mean, I'm not going to go into asking like what were they thinking, but anyway, they've got like something like 4 or 5 months between these 2 kids, one being a girl and the other one a boy. So that's kind of fun. So the girl I have not made yet. I made a thing for her yet. So, and also since then, another niece has had a little baby girl. So I've got 2 little baby girl things that I want to make. I haven't decided what to do. But I'm trying to make one thing for each one of these little guys that keep getting born. How many have we got now? 4, 5, 6. There's 6 on that side. And I've got 4 on the other side. So that I've made quite a few things. Anyway, this is a fun, this thing. If you are unsure or worried about learning how to do short rows, this is a terrific pattern for that. As you can see, this is made with short rows. That's how it's made flat, which is an unusual. It's kind of like a woolly wormhead pattern. If you know anything about her patterns, this is the exact same idea as the kind of thing that she does. So she creates the round part with the use of short rows in these, and this one in these sections. So depending on how big the hat is, you make bigger sections, longer sections, and more sections. And then I haven't put the button on yet. I haven't chosen a button, but then you just put that on there, like that. So it's a terrific thing. And although the pattern calls for wrap and turn short rows, I use German short rows, and that's where I first learned how to make them, was for this hat. I think, pretty sure. Because I remember hearing about them and I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds way easier. So I think I used wrap and turns for the first one I made, and then the second one I tried German short rows, and it was way easier. The only trick with changing a pattern to German short rows from wrap and turns is you have to adjust. Like if it says go to 5 stitches before the end of the row, you actually have to go to 4 stitches before the end of the row. So if it says go 5 stitches before the end of the row and then wrap and turn, then if you want to switch it to German short rows, you have to go to 4 stitches before the end of the row, turn, and then work the double stitch. Work your German short row and then carry on. And then when you come around to knitting that stitch, it'll be a double stitch, and you just knit it together. It's like it's always treated as one stitch, even though it looks like a double stitch. I mean, there are lots of good tutorials out there, so I'm not gonna make one, but yeah. So that's the trick. And also if it says knit 16 stitches and do a wrap and turn, you do one more. You go 17 stitches. So in other words, you're always going one more in the same direction when you do a German short row, as opposed to a wrap and turn, right? The terminology is a little different. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Anyway, it's a great practice. So if you have a little kid to make a hat for, The Aviatrix hat by Justine Turner, who's on a Ravelry. I don't remember if it was free or not. Yeah, lots of fun. So there's that. So those are my 2 finished objects. Oh, this is by, this yarn was given to me by my friend Linda, and I used it in my woolly warm head hat that I made for myself. And it's called Lorna's Laces, and it's in her worsted multi. And I have no idea whether it's still available. It's a lovely, lovely yarn. I love the colors. So it's 100% wool, merino. I superwash, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so now into my, oh, before I go on, I'll just show you what I'm wearing, because you might be interested, curious, whatever. This is a shawl I made in honor of to wear at my daughter's wedding, which is now almost 2 years ago. God, I can't believe it. So it's easy to remember when I did it. And it's called Love and Lemons by Melanie Berg. And I really get a lot of use out of this shawl, and it makes me realize that I ought to make another one. Well, maybe not the exact same thing, because, you know, I like trying new things, but having a linen shawl or scarf is very handy in this weather and getting into summer. What happened here? That's weird. Anyway, let's not look at that. It was a long project because, as you can see, it's a very long scarf, but I love it, and it was really worth it. So, and that was made in a yarn called it's called Shibui Knits. It's by Shibui Knits linen and the blueprint colorway. And yeah, and the shawl is Love and Lemons by Melanie Berg, which I can write all this stuff down in the program notes below. I'll put it on the screen probably as well. Very simple and just you know, kind of a mindless knit, so it's fun for sitting on the deck in the summertime, knitting a nice linen shawl. So, okay, so that, and this is a pattern that I knitted a while ago, and it's called Love Story by Andy Hansen, and I knitted it out of Rowan Creative Linen, which is half linen and half cotton. It's a bit too heavy, I think, for this pattern. It didn't turn out at all how I expected. It still is useful. I like it, but I always have to wear it over something because this is like way too big. I just wouldn't feel comfortable wearing it without something underneath. So it's not great for the summer. I occasionally wear it around the house in the summer if I'm dying of the heat, but yeah, I would definitely choose a 100% linen, I think, next if I were to make it again. And I really like the pattern, so it's possible I'll make it again. You never know. All right, so that's that. That's what I'm wearing. Moving on to works in progress. My works in progress are such as I am making this Zweig, and I really, really love it. And this Zweig by Caitlin Hunter. Now, I have to tell you something. I'm never with it when it comes to the trends, okay? I think this was popular, I don't know, 2 years ago at least? I don't know. When did it come out? And she's done so many patterns since then that are taking the world by storm. But I don't actually love all of her patterns. I know most people do. I've said this before. There are some that I really like, and there are some that just don't appeal to me. But this one I'm really, really enjoying. So here it is. I've already split for the sleeves. I should try it on, but I think if I try it on, yeah, I will definitely have to put it on some another needle as well, because otherwise it'll all come apart. So I can't just do it right now, but maybe I'll show you a picture later. Maybe I'll insert a picture of me wearing it to show that it actually is going to fit. Okay, so now I'm at the body, and my issue is how am I going to continue? Like it calls for this, I'll have to show you the close up here. The body calls for this cable. It's a 2x2 cable. Well, it's basically a 1-stitch cable, but it's done over, the little motif is done over 4 stitches on one row, and then two rows later you do another 4 stitches. So you make this little design, and it goes all over the body. I'm just not sure it's worth the faff, like as the British say, the faff, the pain in the butt that it is to do it. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I want to continue it. I wonder how it would look if I just left it like this, like do 2 rows of it, 2 complete repeats of that, and then just do the rest plain. Would that look really weird? Because frankly, I am not into this. It's because of this yarn, I think. The Madeline Tosh is quite slippery. So getting in there with your needle and trying to do it without a cable needle is not as easy as it sounds. You'd think it would be, simple with one little stitch, but it's just, it takes so long to get it. Anyway, I've tried different ways of doing it, and I haven't tried it with a cable needle yet, which I guess might be okay too, but it definitely will still take time. Anyway, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if I love it either. So I don't know if it would really look that bad. I figure like if I just left it the way it is with just the 2 repeats underneath all this other busy stuff, it might just look like part of the yoke, and then the rest could be plain, and I don't think it would look that weird. But what if it does, and then I'm stuck? I don't know. If you have any opinions, you can weigh in. I love it so much. It's so pretty. Anyway, when I'm at the, this is the marathon part of this is the body for me. That's the same with every sweater. This is why I'm thinking I ought to do more, like I really should get into doing, I want to do a whole Farrell sweater, like the whole thing color work. That way I won't even notice how long it is, because I'll be just so into it, for the whole thing. I think that's why they invented colorworks. All over colorwork sweaters was for people like me. I just find those endlessly, endless rounds of plain stockinette. It's just like, oh my God. Like I think I knitted for a whole hour last night as I was watching a couple of videos, and it was, I literally got a ½ inch of knitting. And I'm like, if I do an inch a day, it'll still take me 2 weeks to finish the body. Like, that's just the body. It's not even the sleeves. It's so long. Anyway, I am not a fast knitter. That's all there is to it. Okay, so I didn't have too many problems with this. I did the exact increases and everything. I followed the large size. I think, and all the way along, I tried it on, and I think it's going to be okay. The only problem I'm seeing is that this part where I did short rows at the back, it seems a little bubbly. Like it seems like it might kind of not lie flat, which I'm not going to be too worried about that. I mean, it's not too terrible, and I think maybe with blocking it'll hide a multitude of sins or something. And a man on a galloping horse rule applies. And I may have done a couple of mistakes in the lace, but it really doesn't show. Yeah, the lace part was fun. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know if you can see it in this crappy light, but this is like a lavender colored yarn in here with little tiny flecks of green and blue, very few little flecks of blue. And it's just so fun. I really like it. And I think it's perfect with this dark purple, which is the Madeline Tosh Madeline Tosh Light. So these are both single ply yarns, and I really like working with these yarns, but they are a little bit slippery for that, for what I'm doing, that cable. It didn't bother me during the lace part, which you'd think might be a problem, but it wasn't a problem. But now with these little cables, because you can't just drop a stitch and expect it to not slip out, because it is, because it's definitely going to slip out immediately. So you can't do that thing where you just drop it, the first stitch, and the second one, put the other one on the needle. It just doesn't work. So you have to figure out something else. Anyways, so that's been a bit of a chore that I've been facing the last couple of days while I try to figure out what I want to do for the rest of the sweater. I'm very tempted to just do it plain from now on. So that's my Zweig. I just love it. Yeah, so let me know what you think about the cabling. Think I can get away with not doing any more of it? I know a lot of people did the whole yoke plain, the whole body plain, but I wanted to try the cables because I thought, well, I mean, I did it in the swatch, and I remember thinking that there was a little bit of a faff, but I thought, oh, I'll get used to it, it'll be fine. Apparently not. It's just not that much fun. Okay, so now I have revived my last year's knitting project of the summer, which was the Lizzie cardigan by Julie Weisenberger, who was aka Coco Knits. So I bought her sweater workshop book last year, and I was really gung-ho to make one of these patterns because everybody said how great they are, how they fit beautifully, and all the things. So I tried it last year, and I wasn't happy with the way the increases looked. And I'm still not crazy about them, but I'm going to carry on because I bought the book and I damn well am going to use it. You know, I'm going to use her method. Actually, once you get used to the method, it's quite easy. But it just takes a little getting used to. But I just don't find that they look all that great. Anyway, that's just my opinion. The other problem I'm having is because I didn't like the way they looked, and I was sure I made mistakes. I had already split for the sleeves, and I undid like, I don't know, this much of it, of the sweater, of the cardigan last year, put them back on the needles, and then put it away. I didn't make any proper notes about where I was. But there is like a chart that you have to fill out, so it's helpful in trying to find your place, but it wasn't as helpful as I'd hoped it was going to be. I had to take it over to Espace Tricot on the Knit Circle afternoon and show off and ask Françoise for some help because I couldn't figure out where I was. So she helped me, she got me back on track, and I started knitting again. And then I realized that for about an inch there, where I was obviously stressed about the increases, I guess, or I don't know what I was going through. I mean, my gauge was all over the map. It looked like heck. Okay, it looked like hell. Absolutely. So, and you can still see it there, even though I've steam blocked it. You can sort of see where there's like this whole kind of ridge where I just screwed it up. Anyway, so I told this to a couple of people at Espace Tricot, one of whom is Mona. And Mona, she will tell you the truth, I think. Like if she thought you better pull that out, that's not going to block it. I would have immediately took it out. But I told her I had already steam blocked it, and it didn't seem to look that much better. And she was like, "Don't worry about it. It'll be better when you wet block it." So I'm like, "Okay, if you say so." I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I'm going to go by what she says, because frankly, this project is a pain in the butt. I'm not enjoying it that much, to be honest. But partly it's because, you know what, I'm not crazy about working with linen. It is super not satisfying. I mean, it's wonderful when you finish it. Like I just finished telling you to do this shawl. But that's mostly because it's really fun. The finished product is so nice. It is so nice to wear linen in the summer. And that's why I wanted this little linen cardigan. I thought it'd be great to throw on. But I'm telling you, it is not as much fun as I'd hoped. And I really hope it fits me after all this. But yeah, you can't really tell because I'd have to put it on another needle. But I think it's going to be fine. Yikes. So, and this is made with Le Petit Lin Plus, which is an Espace Tricot special in their Marguerite Bourgeois colorway. So that's that. Anyway, wish me luck. I'm gonna carry on with it, but I'm so addicted to knitting on the Zweig that I'm not sure when I'm gonna really get into that. I think it's gonna take some serious hot weather to get me away from the Zweig and into the Lizzie. You know what I mean? If it was really hot, I wouldn't want to knit on this, you know, this kind of thing. But it just hasn't been. It's been really chilly. All right, so, oh, the other thing, when I talked to Mona the other day about this project, she suggested that I would have been better off knitting this on a wooden or a bamboo needle, because that's what she does when she knits with linen, because it stays, it just creates a more even tension. So, you know, hindsight being 20/20, maybe I'll do that next time, but I don't think I could switch now. That wouldn't be a good idea. So I'll just carry on with this, but next time I'll keep that in mind. These are my Hayas, which I love. Oh no, these aren't my Hayas. These are my, what do you call it? You know what they're called. The Addies. These are my Addie clicks. Yeah. Huh. Maybe I'd be better off with my Hayas because they've got a sharper tip. What is this? This is a 4.0. Anyway, so that's that. I might switch to my Hayas because they are a little bit more fun to use. Okay, so that's that. I generally use Hayas, or my metal needles, for almost everything. I rarely use my wooden needles, but they do come in handy sometimes. I have a set of, what are the heck they called? Oh my god, I can't remember what they're called. I'm so bad. I'll try to put it down in the below here. I'll let you know the name of those needles that I have. They're really pretty, and I'll show them to you because I have a new knitting needle case that was made for me by my excellent friend Maureen. Oh my god, I just love this thing. I told her I needed one of these cases. I mean, I was ready to buy one because I really like them, but they are kind of expensive. You see this? This is, oh wow, so this is going to be a long episode. I already had to empty my memory card, which is always a sign that it's getting long. So I think I was talking to you about my my needle case, which my friend Maureen gave me. And I had been looking at them at Espace Tricot and thinking, oh, they're kind of expensive. And I mentioned it to Maureen, and she thought it would be a good challenge for her because she really loves to sew. And she hadn't been doing a lot of sewing lately, mostly because of her health and various things, but she's back in excellent health right now. So she decided to try it out. And she had this great fabric in her stash. She's a long-time sewist. I think that's how you say it. Oh, I used to always say sewer, but it looks like sewer, so I guess maybe people don't like that. So it's sewist. I am not a sewist, so I don't know about these things much. But anyway, so she decided to try to make one herself. Now, it's definitely given both of us an appreciation of how much work goes into one of these, how much thought has to go into them to design them properly. And so I now know that they are absolutely properly priced. They are a little expensive, but that really just reflects the work and the beautiful material that's used. So anyway, she made me this gorgeous thing, and I'm very happy with it. It holds all my stuff, all my interchangeables, which is what I really needed it for, because I have 3 sets of interchangeables. So this only fits 2 sets, but my other set, which is my Addies, has its own case, which is perfectly fine. It works great and it keeps everything nicely. But the other 2 cases I had for the wooden needles, which are these ones here, And I don't have a name on it, so I don't know. They're very nice needles. Anyway, that case was not working for me, and so I needed somewhere to put those. And also my Haya, that needle case, it just seemed to, if I just move it the wrong way, everything falls out of it, so that was annoying as well. So this keeps it all really nice, and I'm very excited with it. It's just so nice to be organized. Whether it'll stay that way, I don't know. But anyway, that was a fun acquisition. So she just finished that for me recently. And you just have to tie it. She only used Velcro for the little pocket inside because, well, actually, I'm not crazy about Velcro. So I kind of asked her to, maybe avoid it a little bit. And it's fine for that pocket because you want something that's going to keep things from falling out, obviously. But I prefer this tie for the outside. It's just the sound of Velcro drives me crazy. Isn't that weird? I just find it so loud. Anyway, thank you, Maureen. Maybe if I know she watches my podcast sometimes, which is great because she's not even a knitter. So that's like a true friend. But I really appreciated everything she put into that, and it's a wonderful thing to have. And if you can afford to get one from the store, Jezebel makes a really good one. So I would recommend looking at those. I don't think Maureen is in the business of making these, so she won't be accepting commissions anytime soon. But you never know, I suppose. She is, I don't know, on her way to retirement, maybe? Nah, it's going to be a while yet, probably. She might have more time then. Okay, so that was one acquisition which I didn't even have to pay for, and I didn't have to make. But, so that was fun. Can't even tell you where to buy it, because you can't buy that one in particular. But this, I've just bought, and you can buy it at, online. And at Dispatch Go and probably any local yarn store. It's the latest Pom Pom magazine. Excusez-moi. And it's a really good one. I mean, it's full of interesting kind of summary projects that I bought it particularly to look at this. I'll show you. This was designed by one of our local designers, Stephanie Earp, so I really had to buy it because I really admire her designing. It's very, very inventive, and I like this beehive pattern that I've seen in other places too, and it's just so pretty. So I may end up knitting this, although I have so many things on my queue, so many things on my needles too. But I'd really like to try it. Yeah, I like the boat neck. I find it's flattering on me, so that might really work. Although this is a little bit big in terms of the width, but I think I could probably find a size that would work. I don't know if I would wear it with as much ease as this person is wearing it, but she's obviously very thin, so maybe everything has lots of ease on her. This is also a lovely pattern, which I might like to try. And that looks like it would be kind of a fun and quick knit because of the no sleeves thing. I like that. And what else? I mean, there's just several really pretty patterns. This is very nice too, but I would want to make that with a little less cleavage, I'm not quite there yet. Or at least I was there and I'm not there anymore. And this is nice too, it's a crocheted bag that I wouldn't mind giving a try, but I'm not much of a crocheter. And let's see, I don't know, there's a nice cardigan in here, which is, I think, made of probably cotton or cotton linen. It's very nice. And I like the new sort of more inclusive diversity of models in here. It's really refreshing to see an assortment of body sizes and you know, skin shades. Let's not put too fine a point on it. But it is nice to see because it's important. And I think they've really made an effort here, and I hope they'll continue to do so. I imagine they will. And there's a really interesting article in here with a woman who is named Emi Ito, and she's a Japanese American, and she talks about cultural appropriation. It's really, really eye-opening and interesting. You know, it's something I really haven't thought about too much, and it's pretty bad. Like, she talks about the misuse of the word kimono, which is ubiquitous. The use of the word kimono, I mean, when I was a kid, any housecoat that I was wearing was a kimono. I don't know if you had that experience, but that's what my parents used to call our housecoats, like our dressing gowns or whatever you want to call them. It was my kimono. And it's not a kimono. That's not at all what a kimono is. A kimono is a much more, like, I believe anyway, I should probably check my sources on this, but it's an item of clothing that was specifically for a certain ritual purpose, I believe. I'll have to look that up. But anyway, it's not just a regular old housecoat. And the ones that I have, and they have the big belt here, and they're just a specific type of garment. Whereas, you know, a housecoat that I was wearing as a kid was basically made of friggin', I don't know, what do you call it? Terry cloth. You know, it was just a regular thing with a regular sash, and how much I did not know about these things. Okay, so I thought I would show you, since I'm sitting here and I want to get some work done on my knitting, I thought I would show you my difficulties with making these one stitch cables. So hold the phone for a second. Okay, so I've got these two that are in the previous, the 2 rows below, and now I have to do the kind of opposite. So I have to knit into this stitch, okay? And of course, as I'm showing this to you, it's a little bit awkward because I'm trying to keep it in the viewfinder. But you see how I can't even get my needle in there, and it's not much easier when I don't have to worry about the viewfinder. So I did get it, and now I knit into the other stitch. So there you go. I've got my 2 stitches, and they're placed the right way. Now, it didn't seem that hard, but I'm telling you, when you have to stick your needle in a bunch of different times, and then the second time, which is the knitting, keeping the first one in the front while you knit the second one. So that's a 2F, whatever. Yeah, you knit into the back of the second stitch, and then you knit into the first stitch regularly. Now that's an Andrea Mowry technique that I got from her technique videos, and it works. That one works much more easily, I find. It just is not as much of a pain to get my needle in and stuff. So then I knit 4 stitches, and then I do it again. So I'll just show you one more time. Now this is the way she does it, is like I said, like I showed you, sticking your needle in here somehow or other, but I just find it's really hard for my needle to get in there. So I have to pull this way, pull it out like that, hold it, stick my needle in like that. Wait, did you even see that? No. I pull this out, okay, and then I stick my needle in the front way after, see? And then I knit that one, and then I knit this one, the first one. So there you go. So that is the first one. And then this one, and you just stick your needle into the back of the second stitch, knit it all the way. Whoops, but don't pull it off the needle. This is a little hard, like I said. This one's easier, believe me. even though it's not looking like it right now, but so I've knit into the first one, then I knit into the, second one, then I knit into the first one. And I've got them set up properly on the needle, and I pulled them both off, and that's it. And I've made my little doohickey. Yeah. Anyway, so that is how it's done, but I'm not thrilled about it. I find it takes too long, and what do you think? Just one row? Just two, not one row, but two repeats of the pattern? What do you think? Okay, on to the next thing. Happy knitting. Okay, so I did a little tutorial there to show you what a kind of a faff it is to do this this particular tiny little cable. It might start getting really a lot easier as time goes on. I don't know. So I'm just knitting away here a tiny bit while I talk to you. I wanted to tell you, I don't think I mentioned this in my last episode. I wanted to tell you, like I always try to mention one or two podcasts that I've been discovering, because I do love my podcasts. And one of them is, I just started watching Les Sheependales, which is a French podcast, so not too many of you may be interested in watching it, but it's a francophone couple of guys who are knitters and who do this podcast, and they're quite entertaining. They're a lot of fun. In fact, I read a couple of the comments, and they were by anglophones who couldn't really understand half of it or any of it, and they still found it entertaining. So I don't know, check it out. Les Sheependales, as they call themselves. I'll put a link down in the description box below, and you can check that out. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention about this is that during the body of this pattern, I am having to alternate skeins because there's quite a difference in the two skeins that I'm using right now. One of them is quite a bit darker, and the other one has quite a few more flecks of lighter colors. Oops, I forgot to do my pattern. What a dummy. All right, back. I could almost get away with not doing it like under the arms. Who would notice? That's an idea. Okay, so I don't know if I have much else to tell you. I think I pretty much got through everything. Yeah, I think that's it. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and I will hope to get this out, pretty soon. Sorry if I keep going out of the viewfinder. I've had to move it around so much that it's a little bit. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying your knitting, and that you'll have a great summer of knitting linens and cottons and different things like that. I have a couple of ideas for other linen related knitting, even though, like I said, it drives me a bit nuts to knit with it. But there's so many nice things that you can make that I'm just kind of tempted. Like there are some bags that I've noticed lately available. Espace Tricot has one that's actually made out of cotton, but it's like a really, you double this cotton, and so you use a really big needle, and I guess it goes pretty fast. I actually have some of that. The only thing is it's white and red. I'm not sure I need a white and red purse. So I might have to, if I'm going to do that, I'd have to buy yarn, most likely. But different things like that are fun to knit in the summer. I definitely think another little, maybe a little littler one than this, a smaller shawl or little bandana type thing would be perfect for this kind of weather where sometimes you just need something around your neck. Gosh, it is pouring out there. I hope you have a great day despite the crappy weather. And maybe you're not having crappy weather where you are. Let's hope not. and have a lovely day. Happy knitting. Bye.